Hello, what is up, beautiful people? It's me, Tara J. So I look a little rough, but I am just getting off work. I just got something to tell y'all really fast, okay? I just had the worst Uber experience of my entire life. Like, no joke, my entire life. It was like really bad. So let's talk about it. So I call an Uber from work or whatever, right? And the guy comes and pick me up from work and tells me, no, matter of fact, here, this is the exact story. This is how it went. So I didn't have him waiting. Sometimes I do be having my Ubers wait, but I didn't have him waiting. None of that went wrong. So I hopped right in the car and I said, "Hey, yes, I'm Tara." So he proceeds to drive down the street. So he picks me up on one street, basically Adams, right downtown Chicago. If you're aware of what Chicago is, right? Adams downtown. He picks me up here. The GPS. So I'm looking because he got like a phone mount on his thing, so I can see his GPS from the back seat, right? So the GPS says make a left on Madison, which is 2 blocks from Adams. If you're aware of Chicago, right? So then he doesn't turn left on Madison at all. He misses it. Then he was like, oh, so it was like like a little cutoff alley right after Madison, right? So then he puts the car in reverse while cars are coming in the opposite direction down the street. And he was like, oh, this couldn't be Madison. So I didn't say anything. I'm still quiet, right? So then he drives further and the GPS says turn left on Randolph. I say, oh, once he passed Randolph, I say, oh, well, you missed Randolph. And he's like, oh, this isn't Randolph. Now we're on Lake at this time. So now I'm like, no, this is Lake Street. It says Lake Street right there. So again, this is the worst Uber driver experience I've ever had in my entire life. So then he says, oh, you should get out because my GPS is not working. So I'm looking at this and I'm looking at his Uber and I'm like, well, it looks like it's working to me because I can see it. I can see your GPS and it shows that it's working. You just don't have Siri talking to you, and it's easily you can cut that on. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm playing his game. He said his GPS is not working. So I'm like, okay, so I can just direct you to my home if that's the case. I could just tell you where I live. He was like, oh, no, I don't want to jeopardize your safety. I'm like, huh? Like, how is that me jeopardizing my safety and I'm telling you where to go to drop me off at my house? So I never once had an Uber driver tell me not to go. Say no, don't direct me somewhere. I mean, I've had some unprofessional Uber driver, but this one was the worst. It's like, why wouldn't you want me to direct you to where you need to drop me off so you can get money for this ride? So he was like, oh yeah, you should get out. So I'm like, okay, so well, this ride is $15 and they're gonna charge me $15. He was like, oh, well, they shouldn't. I'm like, well, they definitely gonna charge me $15 for this ride. So he goes, oh, do you want $1? Are you stupid? Like, why would you offer me $1 and I tell you this ride was $15? We already just rode 4 or 5 blocks up the street. That's already on top of that is about $7, $8 via Uber terminology. So he like, do you want $1? I'm like, oh no, I'm okay, but I don't understand. Like, why am I getting out? How am I gonna get home? He's like, well, you should just call another Uber. Why would I do that? I could just direct you to where I'm going. So he like, oh, do you want the $1? I'm like, no, I'm good, but can you make sure Uber doesn't charge me $15? He's like, okay. So I get out the car and I request another Uber driver. He instantly goes into the Uber app and tells Uber that he felt unsafe and he felt discriminatory acts. Mind you, this driver was a white man, definitely so. An old white man at that. And Uber messages me like, oh, the next time this occurs, your account will be permanently deactivated. I didn't do anything wrong, so what are you talking about? So now I can't even find a number to contact Uber to even tell them what happened. So I have to send them a long message on Uber, which is what I already did, to let them know what occurred, just so they can offer me a credit. Oh, he did say that too. He's like, well, Uber is going to give you a credit. Man, Uber's credit is about $3 to $4. That's the only thing they offer you. So I'm still going to be losing out on $10 on something that could have been prevented. So then I'm like, okay, so I messaged Uber back and I'm trying to contact them, tell them I want all of my money back from that ride. And so at this point, I just paid $30 for 2 Ubers and it could have just been $15. I don't understand. And Uber, like, y'all got people that's driving for y'all that don't know where they're going. Why are you driving for Uber if you gotta use GPS? Only people that needs to be driving for Uber is people from that city that can access that city no matter where they at in the city. I get you use GPS because people here still use GPS. It's cool. But if you got to use GPS from one point to the next and you don't know when and what the next street is, if you're on Adams and you don't know that Madison is 2 blocks away from downtown Chicago, it's absolutely no way you should be using Uber. And for you to turn around and say you felt unsafe, excuse me, what can I do for you? What can I possibly do? Man, I'm just getting off work. I had food, a whole plate of brisket in my hand, a book bag on, 2 water bottles. You really feel unsafe with all that shit in my hand? Are you serious? Are you really serious? Uber, you really need to do better. I've filed a report already, and I might just go on Yelp and put a review on Yelp with this experience because, no, unacceptable. Very, 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 excuse me, very, very, very unacceptable. I'm angry. Okay, so that is my experience with Uber. If you have an Uber, I would say his name, but matter of fact, if you know who my ex is, you know his name. It wasn't him, but you know his name. Okay, the worst Uber driver I've ever had in my entire life. I'm out, guys. I'm Tara J. That's that. Peace.